Krishna Nama Ucharana Pulakita Deho Gadgada Bachana Korite Shri Krishna Nama Korite Shri Krishna Nama Ucharana Pulakita Deho Gadgada Bachana Vaivarnya Vepatu Habe Sangatana Nirantara Netre Babe Ashrudha Kabe habe bolo se dinama Kabe navadvipe suraduni tate Gaura Nityananda boli nishkapate नाचिया गाया बिराई बोछूटे बटुलेरा प्राया छाड़िया बिचार काबे हाबे बोलो से दीनामा काबे हाबे बोलो से दीनामा काबे नित्यानंदा मोरे कोरी दया छड़ाइबे मोरा विषयेर माया दिया मोरे निजा चरणेर छाया ना मेरा हटे ते दीबो अधिकार काबे हाबे बोलो से दीनामा काबे हाबे बोलो से दीनामा किनी बोलुटिबो हरि नामारा सा नामरा से माती होइबो विवाह Rasera rasika charana parasha Koriyamo jibo rase anibar Kabe habe bolo se dinamar Kabe habe bolo se dinamar Kabe jibe doya hoibe udaya nija sukha buli sudina hruday Bhakti vinoda koriya binay Shriya gyata hala koribe prachar Kabe habe bolo se dinamar Kabe habe bolo se dinamar Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Kabe habe bolo se dinamar Kabe habe bolo se dinamar Dinamar
Settling, hopefully we'll get it together. Could you keep your hand on the, it's a little ring back. Thank you. So a little different kind of festival of the Holy Name than we're used to. But technology permitting, we'll carry on. A little background on the theme. The theme is Say Yes to Nama Prabhu. I'll show you the slide in a little while. And this song has to do with the first letter, the Y letter, the yearning letter. Yearning, enthusiasm, and spontaneity. I requested Gopal Bhatta to make a recording, which he didn't find the time to do for some reason. I guess because he's really busy. But the theme came from him, because that's what he's absorbed in, that the rocket fuel that keeps him going is saying yes to Nama Prabhu. Yearning, enthusiasm, and spontaneous, that's the trajectory. So this song the song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur touches on the yearning part. Well, we'll start with, when, oh when will that day be mine? This is Prabhupada's translation. Maybe some of you have seen another translation. That's not Prabhupada's translation. It's Jai Sachinandana. I like Prabhupada's translation. Kabe habe bolo se din amar. The refrain is a yearning. When, oh when will that day be mine? When my offenses ceasing, taste for the name increasing, when in my heart will your mercy shine? When, oh when will that day be mine? It rhymes. Look at that. The name pictured on the left, that's Krishna in his threefold bending form. And the name is none different than the person. And access to the person is through the name. When, oh when will that day be mine? The yearning. Lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, when will my mind attain this quality? Sounds like Dravida. Respect to all, not expecting their honor, then shall I taste the name's nectar sublime. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his writing style, would take teachings from the scriptures, or Rupa Goswami or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's what's here. These four elements in Shikshastaka number 3, right within his song. Then I shall taste the name's nectar sublime. When, oh when will that day be mine? Great wealth or followers, feminine beauty, I won't care for them, or the comforts of my body. Birth after birth, give me, O Lord Chaitanya, causeless devotion to your feet divine. Sounds like Dravida's style. Well, I'm accustomed to the when, oh when will that day be mine? When will I utter Krishna, 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 with words choked up and shivering body? That's the spontaneous stage. When will I be trembling all over, lose bodily color, tears pouring from my eyes? When, oh when will that day be mine? That's very high yearning. When in Navadvip along the Ganges bank, shouting, Gora Nityananda, as a surrendered soul, dancing, chanting, running everywhere. When will I become half mad of mind? When, oh when will that day be mine? When will Lord Nityananda show mercy upon me? When will I reject the world of Maya? Bestowing upon me the shade of your lotus feet, let the right to preach the name be mine. When, oh when will that day be mine? I will beg, borrow, or steal the nectar of the name. By the name's effect, I will feel paralyzed. Oh, enjoyer of the nectar of the holy name, when will I touch your lotus feet? Till the end of time. This is Dravida. When, oh when will that day be mine? When kindness to all beings will be appearing, with free heart, forget myself comforting, Bhakti Vinod in all humility praise, now I will set out to preach your order sublime. When, oh when will that day be mine? So this is, chose this song to begin because it's a yearning message. You've seen this image? If you have Naveen Krishna's phone number, you see this image. Hare Krishna mantra life is the source, but it's a nice image. Never leave his lotus feet. So is it possible to disconnect the HDMI and send the cable over here? And if I could have the remote little device, that would be nice too. So if you're unfamiliar with this kind of graphic design, you know who the creator of it is? Huh? Shruti. Mangara, Shruti Mangara. This is, she, I don't know how long it takes her to do this, but she's really into it. So the background again, yearning, enthusiasm, and spontaneity. That's our theme. And we touched on the yearning part. Yearning means something similar to this liminal space idea. We're way over here, our goal is way over there, and there's a big gap between where we are and where we want to go, but we want to go. So it's not just recognizing where we want to go. There's an added component, a motivational component, not just a knowledge component. I want to go. And there's a tension, either being self-honest, this acceptance and progress theme. We discussed this at length in Gita Nagari for one of our Gita Nagari retreats, acceptance and progress. So acceptance, just as Bhakti Vinod Thakur was expressing, when will that day be mine? It's recognizing or accepting my position is way over here. Or in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's language, Durdaibam Idrisha Hajani Nanuraga. I'm very unfortunate or misfortunate, Durdaivam. I know all these things about the glories of the holy name and Nanaraga. So don't just stay in the Nanaraga space, you go to the yearning space. I want to make that connection. I want to have anurag. I want to have attraction for the holy name. So that's where the tension comes. So acceptance requires self-honesty. There's this common saying, humility is the foundation of knowledge. You've heard that one before? Humility is the foundation of knowledge. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks, what's knowledge? What's the first item? Humility. So part of humility is recognizing that we don't know. Because if you think that you know, or you're not humble, then you're never going to know. So I added this slide. She didn't put this one. The older generation folks may not know what that means. Jitendra, you know what it means? No. It's a celebrated movie called Matrix. I didn't either. But I recognized the image because in college programs I was asked to speak about it several times. It's, a dude comes and offers, you want the reality pill or the illusion pill. And that's the tension, because we're really comfortable, or we're not comfortable, we're addicted to illusion. And to go to reality, there has to be recognition that we're in illusion and we want to move to reality. That's so, there's the humility. I'm going to spend some time because that's part of the Shikshastra teaching. More so than a blade of grass, but this humility has different parts. One is we're very tiny. We're not big. Especially taking into picture the big picture. We're really tiny. Now, false ego pumps us up in different ways, but it's not, we're really tiny. And really tiny doesn't mean low self-esteem. It just means that's the reality. We're smaller than an atom. We're really tiny in the big picture of things. And not only that, humility is recognizing that identity that's me is covered by illusion. And it's just like Sri Radhika's question yesterday. There's layers and layers and subtle layers of illusion, and we don't recognize that we're covered with layers of illusion until we start doing some cleansing, and then we realize there's layers of illusion and bad qualities, and it's a major task. So humility recognizes I'm in illusion, and so the reality choice is recognizing I'm in illusion. And Prabhupada's definition in that Bhagavad Gita purport is humility is not desiring for the satisfaction of being honored by others. Which sounds like the next one, amanitvam adambitvam, pridelessness. The little philosophy, but it's I and mine. The pride has to do with what I think is mine, and that's part of illusion. And wanting to be honored by others is part of pride. Amanitvam adambitvam. That's so knowledge is the foundation, humility is the foundation for knowledge. And so the acceptance is that's my position. I'm tiny, I'm covered by illusion, and I want to go to this reality place, and I'm not there. And specific to the chanting of the holy name, I want to be able to, because the teaching is abundant, just like the beginning parts of Shikshastaka, Krishna has made approach to him so easy by his holy name. And all of his transcendental potencies are invested in each and every name, and I have no attraction. Durdaivam. So the yearning is to not just lower your shoulders and your head and say something. Yearning to come to that position. With knowledge, which requires humility as its foundation, there's a gradual progression of awakening of knowledge. Until we get there, there's illusion, not instant. And as long as there's illusion, then there's what's very familiar to people in this world is negative emotions connected with, I'm not happy. I don't want to be happy. That happiness factor. Just as a comment, I viewed Devamrita Maharaj's lockdown in happiness or something like that was his topic. Locking down happiness. Just a nice title connected with the pandemic. And same thing, Harisham asked me to speak on this topic, the happiness choice. So that there's the illusion happiness and there's the reality happiness, and the reality happiness means letting go of the illusion happiness. And we can't do that so quickly. And then there's the stain of long-standing material contact that even we're choosing over the reality side, we're still habituated to the illusion side, and it's not so quick. So all forms of incompleteness, we're all familiar with this, all forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. So complete knowledge of the complete whole isn't instant, it's gradual, it's the bhakti process that carries us to realization of the complete whole. But to start the bhakti process, to go further in our chanting, to say yes to the holy name, is the yearning to connect with the holy name. So, could we adjust the image a little bit? This projector or something? Okay. Acceptance is receiving what comes our way as being the fruit of our karma. This is now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's explanation of a Brahma Samhita verse. Yes, Twinda Gopam Atavinda Mahos Sva Karma. I am the architect of my own fortune or misfortune. Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. Karanam Goda Sangosya. Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. I'm the architect of my own good fortune, ill fortune. I accept responsibility for that, and here it comes. Good fortune, ill fortune. And it's not me, and it's not a ping pong match, and I just have to hit the ball back, and that's the program. That's not acceptance, I'm responsible, or in the case of a devotee, Krishna is making some arrangement for my purification, which isn't karma. It's rather, in his language, deliverance by Krishna from the root cause of our material existence, namely nescience and evil desires. So Krishna is very kind. He now it's tilted. We'll get it together. By tomorrow morning, we'll have everything all organized. That's what we get for having an event during the pandemic. So we've spoken a lot about this word acceptance. I believe it's a very important principle. Acceptance doesn't mean you just become passive. You just accept. And then after having accepted, so here comes a circumstance that's uncomfortable. And my business is not just to get absorbed in the circumstance that's uncomfortable or the feelings connected with the circumstance that's uncomfortable. It's just the circumstance that's uncomfortable due to my past conduct and Krishna's purification in the case of a devotee. So now, what should I do? I really appreciated the comment that Nityananda Pran made last night about the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. According to our acharyas, at least 2 or 3 times every day, there was a life-threatening circumstance that came to. So we've got, COVID-19, and that's life-threatening, and then there's other things that may happen. But every day, the primary demons are spoken of in the Bhagavatam, and there's many, many, many other ones, just like the primary incarnations of the avatars of the Lord, they're mentioned, and there's unlimited. So 2 to 3 every day. Kamsa was very determined, sending demons to try to kill Krishna, based on what Durga told him. But how did the cowherd boys handle it, or the gopis handle it, or the elders handle it? They're so absorbed in spontaneous love for Krishna. It was acknowledged, like the expression "water off a duck's back." For the duration of time I was staying in Palatine, right behind the room where I'm staying is a big pond. And there's favorite habitat for ducks. And when the rain comes, water off a duck's back. Now there are lots of turtles there too, little guys, really little guys. They don't mind water on the turtle's back either. But because they're absorbed, this is the practical application point is, because of their attaining spontaneous devotion, pure, intense focus on Krishna's happiness in different ways of rasa. And even within one rasa, different varieties of, they're so absorbed that water off a duck's back. They know this calamity, that calamity. They talk about it, they laugh about it, and they move on because it's just one thing after the next thing of loving service. Now, we're way over here. We're not on the spontaneous side, but we can learn from that about what's the path to overcome the illusion that's covering us. Beyond learning how to responsibly and maturely handle or even overcome our negative emotions, here's this root cause again. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. So we're interested not just in book knowledge, theoretical knowledge, we're interested in making our connection with Krishna. That's the primary means to make that connection with Krishna. We all know in this age is the chanting of the holy name. And, some days we're doing better than other days. And for the large part, we're not really satisfied with what it is. But that's the main doorway to enter into the spontaneous realm of loving devotional service, which we're being invited into by Lord Chaitanya and all of his associates and so forth. Based upon acceptance of our tininess and being the architects of our own misfortune, through bhakti we are granted degrees of knowledge of spiritual reality up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full. So that's the yearning. And there's the method, it's the bhakti method. And primarily starting with namadi, beginning with the name. So that's the yearning part. We had this little discussion during our January gathering here in Chicago, a little exercise of evaluating the choices that we make at the end of a day, and how much does it match our values, and if it doesn't match our values and not aligned with our values, what was the impelling force? We could say, illusion in different varieties, but what's our affinity for illusion? What is our affinity for the yearning aspects of our life, the values that we hold? We may not be there, but a value that we hold. And continuing, refining, realigning to make our connection with spiritual reality. And as we do make that connection with spiritual reality, the good news is our detachment from illusion becomes strengthened, or attachment to illusion slackens. And we can start to see things that we couldn't see before. Now, back to Sri Radhika's question from yesterday. And then there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more that we didn't see before. Let's keep going. Great, keep going. No, but there's more. That's okay, keep going. Stay the course. That's this yearning and then enthusiasm. Yearning arises from knowing that life has higher spiritual goals. There's our higher spiritual goal, beyond which one's present attainment of consciousness can grasp. That's yearning. Consequently, one prays for mercy, required intelligence and strength to continue moving step by step towards life's ultimate goal, faithfully abiding by the means to reach it. It's a nice little saying. That's yearning. That's where we're starting. There's this long staircase, and it's way up there, the goal. But we know that goal exists, and illusion isn't fun. And even we try to change channel, it's a different, not fun channel. So how do you leave illusion behind? Connect with that higher reality, spiritual reality. And our primary means is chanting. And so there's our goal, there's the steps to reach the goal. And next is the enthusiasm factor. Now, Rupa Goswami teaches us, number one, bhaktir prasiddhati, factor for achieving perfection in bhakti, is enthusiasm. Spent a little time, the root word, the Greek is the root word for enthusiasm, coming from the Greek word theos, which is divinely inspired, or to be wrapped in ecstasy. Sounds pretty nice. To be wrapped in ecstasy, that's enthusiasm. We're not there yet. But that's what's required. At least, nurturing enthusiasm. There's some really nice quotes that I want to read. One is from Narada Bhakti Sutra. This is Prabhupada's writing, where he writes, enthusiasm is a symptom of the living entity, semicolon. It cannot be stopped. We're enthusiastic for something, like faith. If you don't have faith in Krishna, you're going to have faith in something according to the modes of nature. It's of the soul. Enthusiasm is of the soul. It's a symptom. It is just like a powerful engine. I don't know how there must be a purport. If you utilize it properly, it will give immense production. Therefore, enthusiasm should be purified. It's of the soul, just like faith is of the soul, and faith is to be purified, elevated, and so forth. So where do we repose our faith? One way of describing bhakti, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes bhakti as just the 9 stages up to prema. It's faith and faith and faith and faith in different stages. Or one could say the same, enthusiasm. Just purifying it. And if we don't purify it, it's going to be placed elsewhere. And the default position is illusion. We'll be enthusiastic for something because it's of the soul. It's a natural condition. Prabhupada's terminology here is like a powerful engine. If you utilize it properly, it can give immense production. So enthusiasm is very significant. Here's another quote. I selected 3 from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhakti-aloka, where he's describing the 6 and the 6, and specifically with Utsaha. He concludes with these messages. Enthusiasm is the only support for all types of devotional service. By enthusiastically performing devotional service, one can give up anishtata, or unsteady service, in a very short time, and thus attain nishtha. So that's a goal that's reachable, in steps, of course, but enthusiasm is necessary. So our devotional service is a fruit of chanting, because devotional service is what the soul does. We serve, connecting that service tendency to Krishna is awakened by the chanting. That's what the chanting does. Please engage me in your service. And there's potencies that awaken that disposition. So the enthusiasm of our chanting is going to connect to the enthusiasm of our service, which is going to be according to our psychophysical nature, which is perfectly natural. Some are this and some are that. That's fine. Diversity is fine. Krishna is to be pleased with enthusiasm in the chanting of the holy name. He goes on, in the beginning, however, there is no nishtha, or firm faith, in that service, because various types of anarthas keep crushing the heart. The anarthas are vanquished, however, by performing devotional service with enthusiasm. The more the anarthas are vanquished, the more nishtha is awakened. Now this is his explanation of utsaha. It's only taking us to the Nishtha stage, the more reachable than, let's say, the Prema stage, but it's part of these steps. Concluding, this is his last paragraph in the whole section. The word Shraddha is certainly faith. So he quotes Adao Shraddha, and then, Shraddha is faith. But enthusiasm is the life of Shraddha. Negatively, faith without enthusiasm is meaningless. Many people think they have faith in God, but because they have no enthusiasm, their faith has no meaning. Therefore, due to lack of sadhu sangha, they do not perform devotional service, although they have faith in God. There's broad and there's more narrow definitions of devotional service. One can say, Prabhupada would say, acceptance of God and trying to serve Him, that's devotional service. But many people, it's not exactly how we can serve God, but how He can serve us. And the mood of bhakti is to serve Him, which attracts Him. It's the mood of bhakti that attracts Him up to the spontaneous stage. And then I'm really appreciating these readings from 10th Canto, because that's the goal. That's the standard. And it's a nice goal to aspire for. So enthusiasm is really important. How do we become enthusiastic? Prabhupada was asked, how do you become sincere? By being sincere. Everyone knows what sincere means. Become sincere by cultivating sincerity. And the image is just like dry wood. When it's dry, in touch with fire, it ignites. So becoming enthusiastic is like making wet wood into dry wood, so it can ignite. Now the agent to make wet wood dry is association with something that's dry. So that's the Sadhu Sangha principle. So here we are, Festival of the Holy Name, gathered according to, the circumstance of our present pandemic, except for the kids, socially distancing and so forth. But Sadhu Sangha, I'll read it again. Nice paragraph. The word Shraddha is certainly faith, but enthusiasm is the life of Shraddha. Faith without enthusiasm is meaningless. Many people think they have faith in God, but because they have no enthusiasm, their faith has no meaning. Therefore, due to lack of sadhu sangha, they do not perform devotional service. So sadhu is one who awakens faith. Another way of saying the same thing. If you want to be somebody's friend, remind them of Krishna. In an appropriate manner, not like in an appropriate manner, according to the time, place, and there's different persons out there in the world, and being the well-wisher of those persons is to awaken their faith in Krishna, remind them of Krishna. Faith in Krishna, shelter in Krishna. Gosh, that's what our founder Acharya did over and over to all kinds of audiences. Sometimes this way, sometimes that way. It's how we cultivate enthusiasm through sadhu sangha, recognizing this is a worthy goal, to become less influenced by illusion and more influenced and more connected to a spiritual reality. And the means is serving Krishna, let's say, enthusiastically chanting the holy name. There's impetus. Then comes the spontaneous stage. Can we adjust the screen so we can read what it says? When executed with genuine longing for the goal, sadhana has the potential to awaken Bhava Bhakti. And there's nice scriptural authority for this. This is quoted in several places. It's quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and details are described. Kriti sadhya bhavat sadhya bhava sa sadhana vidha nitya sthitasya bhavasya prakrityam riddhi sadhyata. Action of the senses, which produces the stage of bhava, is called sadhana bhakti. This attained state of bhava bhakti, or sadhyata, the last word, is an eternal sthai bhava, which is not created but simply manifests within the soul by the spiritual energy of the Lord. That's the mature fruit. And it's good to desire the mature fruit. Even we're far from that spontaneous stage, but even in the sadhana stage, knowing that this properly performed sadhana awakens sthai bhava. It's not created. It manifests within the soul by the spiritual energy of the Lord. And the spiritual energy of the Lord is invested in his holy names, Nitya Sarva Shaktis. That's our teaching. So keep chanting, Prabhus. Supposing you're way down here and you're covered in no taste and all those things. Okay? Be honest with yourself. That's where I am. Don't hang out there. Just recognize the name is very merciful, and the practice with the intention of making that spiritual connection has the spiritual potency, and this bhava stage awakens. It's already there. It's just locked up. So the essential point is longing for the goal. That's this yearning or longing, or kabhi habhi bolo se din mar. When will that day be mine? And then the song has different stages, but his final stage is getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda to preach powerfully or in an empowered way. But even if you're not so empowered, be granted the privilege to be engaged in service to Lord Nityananda, to assist Lord Chaitanya, to thereby gain mercy of Lord Chaitanya, so we can get the mercy of Radharani, so we can get that connection with Krishna stronger. We preach to our capacity. Action of the senses which produces the stage of bhava is called sadhana bhakti. Now, if you're a follower of, we are followers of Rupa Goswami. By being followers of Rupa Goswami, we can know it's in the package. Just keep opening the package. And it's inside. It's already there. You can find details of the spontaneous stage of bhakti. There's a lot of verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita outlining it. Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami on this topic. Last slide. Reality, that's this back to the matrix image. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. That's, reality as we think it is. Reality as we think it is. Not the supreme reality. Reality as we think it is merely an illusion. Now, there is a higher reality. And it's not just dreamland, there is a higher reality. And yearning for that higher reality, not just escapism, but connecting with who we really are. Go back to beginning slide. As I speak to different audiences, in different homes and so forth, I'm regularly encouraging them, if they haven't seen it, to view the Hare Krishna movie. And some people say they have, and I said, good, watch it 6-7 times. Because there's a lot of very powerful messages there, one of them being twice. Swamiji, what's your message for the people in the West? Know yourself. Interviewer, know yourself. Prabhupada, know yourself. That's the reality pill. And otherwise it's illusion. The reality that people accept is, sorry to say, but it's illusion. And how do you go from illusion to absolute reality? Well, in the simple language is know yourself, but you can unpack that because self isn't just a hum brahmasmi, it's so many other things. It's our relationship with the supreme reality. And wanting to have that connection, that's yoga, through service, because yoga means bhakti. So we're chanters of the holy name. This is a festival of the holy name. The primary means for us to get to reality compared to illusion is the holy name. There must be some humility and acceptance of our present misfortune, but then going beyond the misfortune by the proper method. So this is our theme: yearning, enthusiasm, and spontaneity. So this is meant to be an introduction to our weekend topic. Let's see if there's some discussion. Looks like our technology is working just fine now. Let's see how the portable microphone works. Yay! You might want to adjust the volume. See if there's anybody in the room that would like to raise something.
That one phrase, know yourself, and then I also heard an extension of that is be yourself. And then one thing I've always heard is, what is Krishna consciousness? Reality distinguished from illusion for the benefit of all.
Nice.
So I told that to some people and they thought I was crazy, but that's just where they're at. I just remember that was very, brief and concise.
Reality distinguished from illusion for the benefit of all.
Yeah.
Powerful. Very compact. Sri Radhika.
Just wanted to express, feel so fortunate to, in the middle of whatever's going on out there, to hear from you and this beautiful, the pictures and just this, it just takes us away from the reality of the current situation.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for that. And I have a couple of questions, Guru Maharaj. When I saw this title, Yearning, Enthusiasm, and Spontaneity, I was thinking of, what does spontaneity mean to us in this stage? Because when you explain spontaneity, it seems very high. Is it appropriate to think of this title in terms of, having this freshness or freshness in our chanting, and that the spontaneity is in our daily chanting, experiencing some rasa? I found spontaneity kind of unrelatable.
It's high. But it's where the train is going. One response is Kapila's teaching about devotional service that's free from the modes. And devotional service that's free from the modes is compared to the mind going to Krishna like the water of the Ganges flowing downstream. Prior to that, we have to kind of encourage the mind to go to Krishna in different ways, even in the mode of goodness. But then there's spontaneous, it's no effort. The mind just goes to Krishna. So that's spontaneous, and that's the goal. Even if the gopis, for example, try to stop thinking of Krishna, they can't. That's spontaneous. So we're not there, but this bhava stage is spontaneous, and the prema stage is, unstoppable spontaneous. And so you can set your goal for nishtha, which is why I read what I read, or why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing. That's the fruit of enthusiasm. It takes you to the steady, but there's beyond steady. That's why it's there. That's our goal. When we say it, same thing in a different way. Being a member of the Hare Krishna movement, a follower of Lord Chaitanya, given the teachings that we have, our goal is to reach that stage, Braja Prem, which is really high. So we have to have intermediate goals, but sadhana means having faith that this will take me there, even if it's far away. And then step by step, I'm maintaining enthusiasm to go to the next step, the next step, the next step, knowing it's going to take me there. That's faith, the life of which is enthusiasm. And it'll help you maintain enthusiasm in your present position to recognize what the goal is. Not, I can't relate to it, or I don't have. But I can say objectively, personally, from reading these 10th canto chapters and commentaries, it's making the goal more focused and more clear. It's not just dreamlike. It's very, very sweet and very detailed, and it slackens attraction for illusion. I'm thinking of the word yummy. In Paramarupa's home, one of the teenagers, we had a little youth gathering, and she was asking, how do I help my friends become vegetarian? And she was describing, with the conversation. She said, when I tell her the reason, she said, yeah, but, hamburgers are yummy. And that's it. So, no discussion. So this is far more yummy. Or the discussion yesterday morning about happiness or joy. The joy of, so I want to be involved in those joyful activities with Krishna, although I'm tiny. Okay.
Guru Maharaj, at the beginning, the bhajan begins with Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioning Aparada Ghuchi, translated as Anartha Nivritti, or eradication of anarthas from the heart. So the way I was understanding is that even to have yearning for chanting of the holy names, the first stage is to come to the Anartha Nivritti. Is that?
The first stage is what?
To come to the eradication of, after the eradication of anarthas from the heart?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Our main business when we're chanting is chanting. And there's obstacles when we're chanting, and that's our anarthas. But the way to overcome the anarthas is by chanting.
Yes.
Without offense. So that's our assignment. I'm not sure what you're asking.
So to even accepted that whatever conditioned anartha stage I am chanting at,
Yes.
is it possible, or I'm understanding that to aspire for yearning for chanting the holy names, to come to that stage,
Yes.
is still okay, that it's not that I have to wait until all the anarthas are eradicated, then I can aspire to chant with that yearning.
With a which?
With the yearning for the chanting.
Yearning.
Yes.
I think I got what you're just asking for validation for your understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The follow-up question to that is, the reason I'm asking that question is because I've had a stigma when...
You've what?
Had a stigma.
You've had a stigma?
For when it comes to chanting the holy name. That having a higher aspiration to chant with intensity or enthusiasm, those are like decades and decades and years and years and lifetimes and lifetimes.
Okay. That's all right.
So I felt like sometimes I settle for less, that instead of aspiring for something more out of my chanting, it becomes there seems to be a resignation that this is all I can do. I'm a neophyte. I have anarthas. So this is how my chanting will be. So
that's it. That's the acceptance
yes.
part. And then there's the progress part.
So the progress part, at least with all these festivals of inspiration that you have been conducting, I think some light bulb is going on slowly, that you are encouraging us that we don't have to necessarily wait until that stage to aspire.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not discouraging, it's impetus.
Yes.
However far away, it's impetus. And it's not material, it's spiritual. Supposing somebody, a kid, I want to be a millionaire, or whatever it is. I want to be an Olympic athlete, or I want to. So to have a goal and you strive for the goal, that's, even in material affairs. So spiritual affairs, what's the goal? What's devotional service? Ahoitiki pratiyata. That's when it's really, so I'm not there yet, but that's the goal. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Guru Maharaj, in the translation for the song,
says, by begging, borrowing, or stealing. Huh? By begging, borrowing, or stealing. So I'm wondering what is stealing of the holy name? Because I'm trying begging, it's not working. I'm wondering if that's an alternative.
That's a clever question. I think we have to ask Bhaktivinoda Thakur what stealing the holy name is. You know, I don't know what the Bengali is and how if it literally translates into beg, borrow, and steal.
Or a phrase.
Or a phrase that's just used that means whatever the means. By whatever the means. So beg, borrow, steal. Have such an intense desire, back to Madhamangal's question, that I'm ready to sacrifice whatever it is. Okay.
May I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Just a quick comment. This song I've been hearing for many, many years. And in the past, I would say a few months, not directly thinking about the song, but in the spirit of, when will I sort of get on the other side has been a thought at the forefront. And I was just appreciating that certain songs will affect only when I'm looking for the same thing. Otherwise, they don't seem to have that resonance with me. You're talking about the water on the back of a duck. Some song, I heard this so many times, but maybe I didn't aspire so similarly, so it didn't really affect me as much as when I'm looking for something.
Naturally.
Yeah. So I was really moved by the song this morning. What I'm going to ask is not fully baked yet, so kindly bear with me. On the comment of incomplete knowledge, and that knowledge progressively increases as one progresses in bhakti. In my understanding of Bhagavatam or other scriptures, it seems that for most persons that enlightenment, although initially is gradual, but the actual moment of truth is when ignorance is dispelled in one go by Krishna. I guess in a metaphorical parallel, I may be walking at night with a flashlight or a torch in my hand, but it dispels only a little bit of darkness, but I have to wait for the sun to rise. But I'm not making somehow the sun to rise.
Well, those are two different concepts. One, that what I thought you were saying is, enlightenment comes like voila. Like, as you were speaking, I was thinking of Muchukunda or Jambavan. They're Krishna's devotees, but they didn't even recognize Krishna till, all of a sudden they recognized it was like light went on. Now, how often is it like that as opposed to the gradual? Now, that's one concept. Then there's another that it's not in our hand, we're not making the sun rise. Krishna reveals himself when Krishna wants to reveal himself. And he may do this way or that way, the other way. But it's dependent upon his voluntarily revealing himself. Like one of the pastimes, just Krishna decided to show to the elders of Braja the spiritual world, which was the same as the place where they were. And then he showed his spiritual form. He showed that they were there too. They didn't insult. He decided, and so he showed them. And it's not up to them, it's up to Krishna saying, yes, I'll show you. And then he does it in his own way. So those are two different ideas.
Yeah, that's why I say it was still half-baked.
Okay.
But this helps, thank you.
But nonetheless, when it's dark of night, you need a flashlight. Just to like navigate your way through going from point A to point B.
And I think that's what I was saying, that the flashlight only allows me to go from point A to point B, but does not remove the pervasive ignorance or darkness around me.
Yes. Yeah. I forget the city I was in China, and there was a electric outage in the whole like district. And we were coming home from a program, and then when we got there, the whole district there's no lights. And I was staying on the 7th floor. And there was no lights even to walk up the stairway. So everybody got out their phone and showed that, we went up to the 7th floor, and it was didn't need to turn the light out because there was no light to turn out. And then in the morning, the sun came up, and then they fixed the electric problem. So we have to navigate with in darkness with what resources we have. But we want to go beyond that, and that's Krishna's mercy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gurumaj, we have a number of questions online. Would you like to take them now, or?
Well, it's we don't have a lot of time, do we? And there's some other hands up too. Let's take these two questions and then we'll go online.
I was thinking about this point you said, it needs recognition that we are addicted to illusion.
We're addicted to illusion.
For me, the word recognition more related with awareness. And I was thinking there is a path for me to travel even between recognition and acceptance.
Recognition and
Yes.
acceptance.
So, because for me, recognition is more like I become aware that, okay,
This is my situation.
This is my situation, but then that awareness is not like pervasive throughout the day or whatever. And then from there to go to the point of acceptance is also like a journey.
It's also a
Journey.
Okay, got it.
So I was wondering if that's a correct understanding, and then what's the journey for me, or what's the path for me to traverse from awareness to...
Well, I mentioned it. I don't mind saying it again. At least a few elements include, I'm the architect of this situation which I'm acknowledging. I take responsibility for it. I'm not pointing fingers at other people or things outside of myself. It's what's coming to me because of my architectural design. I mean, not necessarily I wanted it to look like this, but my free will choices have brought me to this place. I take responsibility. That's acceptance, not just recognition. That's part of the journey, is to acceptance. And then another is the circumstance is temporary and it's illusory. It's not who I really am, but I choose to deal with it because it's, you can choose to not deal with certain things too, just like let them go because they're not of consequence. So acceptance may include that also. Here's the recognition. And this is particularly meaningful and important and relevant to me. So I'm going to choose to invest time and energy and intelligence and understanding how to best respond to this, and just let some other things go. Or leave it up to Krishna to deal with it, or something. I can start making choices. So, but it's going beyond recognition to acceptance. And I'm very tiny. I still have free will, although I'm tiny. And so with my tiny free will, I let me make some choices about what I'm going to do or not do. It's going beyond recognition. It's a path.
So am I already on the path to progress, or progress begins after I...
Well, it depends on how you deal with the recognition part. You could be, let's just say, I'm over here in New Jersey, and I've got a sangha that's someone's like this, another one's like that, and I'm recognizing this one's like this and that one's like that. Now what? That's recognition. Now what am I going to do? I can feel bad about it, or resent it, or feel good about it, or whatever it is. But then you making choices, moving along a path of doing something, or just saying Haribol. It's the free will choices that follow the recognition. Respond. And the respond can be whatever it is. I can make some meaningful impact by making these choices. Let me do those. Or I can become a better person by making the following choices. Let me do those. So you have a path. That's the response, along with the acceptance and recognition. So we're running out of time. Go ahead.
Pretty much this question is from the last slide.
Go ahead.
So while practicing sadhana, the eagerness to expect this holy name is going to awaken Sthai Bhava, regardless of what stage one stands at this point, has to be a sambandha.
Has to be?
Like a sambandha.
Sambandha?
Sambandha.
I don't understand your question. Go ahead, say it
in other words, from Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, we are not this body, we are the soul. I don't realize yet, but that's a theory. But that helps to detach from the mind and so forth. It helps.
Yes.
So likewise, the instruction or injunction, what the holy name is going to awaken the Sthai Bhava, having that in the mind and practicing sadhana is what we need to do? Or?
Well, that's a matter of faith. It's not need to do, but it's faith. It will keep you propelled in sadhana bhakti because of faith in the sadhana bhakti process. That it will take me there. That's faith. It'll keep you going. Not blind faith, scripturally based, reality-based faith. So I'm going to stay the course.
Thank you.
Even I've got a long way to go. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Online questions.
Hare Krishna.
I'm wondering what we should do. It's 4 minutes after 9.
We have like 8 questions already. I'll start with the first one. This is from Parama Karuna Prabhu. He's asking, please clarify if I'm thinking correctly. You mentioned enthusiasm has to be purified. If not purified, enthusiasm can go the wrong way. It doesn't get purified by itself. So he's asking, if I engage in bhakti, bhakti in itself is pure, and if a person joins bhakti and performs it in an impure way, does the enthusiasm get purified? At least that's how I understand the question.
It depends. Something that I'll just share on a short, because of time, I'm not going to do elaborate answers. Something that I learned in the first month of living in a Hare Krishna temple is bhakti is purifying. And if one maintains attachments to impure, one will leave bhakti, because bhakti will purify. And if one is willing to let go of impurities, then one will become pure. But bhakti is purifying. So don't maintain attachments to the impure. So that, the answer to his question is it depends on if one is attached to bhakti or the impurity, their impure way of carrying out bhakti.
He was giving scriptural examples such as apichet sudaracharo bhajate ananyabhak, and also in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where it said that the fire of transcendental knowledge can burn up reactions to past activities and such.
This is you or him speaking?
He's quoting it in his question.
Okay, so he's agreeing. I guess.
Next question is from Vrajeshwari Pran Mataji, who asks, Krishna has unlimited, inconceivable, transcendental qualities. How to understand, at least theoretically, that Krishna has invested all his transcendental potencies in his holy name?
Well, how do we understand something that we don't understand? On the authority of the source, we can understand, at least in principle. And then to understand more than in principle requires purity. And gradually purity comes and we can understand more than what we understand today. That's how we can understand.
This is from Shubhra Mataji. You mentioned that not only are we comfortable, but we're addicted to illusion. What are the steps I can take once that recognition or addiction comes to the surface?
Well, a short...
Recognition of addiction.
Huh? Last part?
Sorry, I think it's a typo here. I can take, what are the steps I can take once that recognition of addiction comes to the surface?
Bhakti process, sadhu sangha, with submission and humility and all those nice things, enthusiasm, faith.
Paramatma Prabhu, you said because of enthusiasm and faith, one will come to steadiness in devotion. But how can I understand that after chanting for so many years, my sadhana is still not steady? For example, I can't wake up for Mangalarti every day with steadiness in attentive japa. Please enlighten me as to what am I missing, Maharaj?
Each of us are different. And in principle, I just repeat, it's not that I said, it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, enthusiasm is the life of faith. So redouble your enthusiasm. That's what what am I missing? You may have a lot of cleansing to undergo. Maybe the Krishna is wanting you to, something from you, and like faith in him, strength of your faith in him, strengthen your faith in him, and so forth. So it can be a number of things. Your question is, what am I missing? May not be that you're missing anything. It may just be that you're covered and Krishna wants to not pull back the curtain yet. He wants you to can strengthen your faith by not pulling back the curtain yet. So if it's something that you can attend to, the quality of sadhu sangha and the quality of using this reference from Bhakti Vinod, the quality of enthusiasm. The quality of enthusiasm. You could say the intensity of absorption will result from the quality of enthusiasm.
This is from Neeraj Bhatnagar. How can I deal with situations where my enthusiasm in bhakti is perceived as a threat by others?
Go more internal, especially in the vicinity of those that are threatened by your enthusiasm. Be as normal as possible around them. But don't let go of your enthusiasm, let it go internal.
From Sundar Gopal Prabhu, I'm trying to validate if I understood correctly. Enthusiasm is to see the far goals like asakti, bhava, and prema, and to get steady in sadhana.
Well, specifically, it's faith, and the life of faith is enthusiasm. Just sticking to what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said and what our acharyas say, faith is the standard that goes up to the stage of prema, and enthusiasm powers that faith, or it's the life of faith. So they're not exactly separable. So what you said is fine, but just sticking to what our acharyas say, faith, inspired by or lifted by or enlivened by enthusiasm. Next.
Radha Vallabh Prabhu, as part of acceptance and progress, is forgiveness to oneself a part of self-acceptance?
Sure.
Thereby ensuring attention to descending mercy and the holy name rather than on challenging situations.
Rather than on?
Challenging situations.
Well, those are disconnected thoughts. Yeah. And that's not exactly a rather than, but read the first part again.
As part of acceptance and progress is forgiveness to oneself.
As part of part of acceptance of oneself is forgiveness.
Yeah, is forgiveness to oneself a part of self-acceptance?
Is forgiveness of oneself part of self-acceptance? Well, it's yes.
Yeah, I think where he's going with this is thereby, by that acceptance, then I can pay attention to descending mercy and the holy name.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Next question by
I think
Amara
this is
Mati.
going to be the last one.
Okay. I had heard in one of your lectures that if we remain attentive while chanting, then all other offenses can be overcome. This is helping me, and I'm able to see more how my mind checks out involuntarily. Observing it for some time, I feel that I have to accept my life situation as a grahastha and having to look after the life of my dependents. I start to question, will I ever be able to chant attentively and sincerely? Can you kindly give me some pointers that I can focus better amidst all my mental cacophony?
Mm-hmm.
Also, can you tell me how I can apply humility and acceptance in this situation?
Well, that's exactly what we've been speaking about. So I go back and listen to the class, and you got the answer to your question. But thank you for the nice question. And I'll go back and hear the class again. Thank you very much. Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for that beautiful class and introduction to this festival. Just a few announcements before we break for breakfast. I wanted to go over the schedule for today, just as a reminder. So please make sure to be back online at 10:15. Let me go ahead and share my screen. That's a little bit easier. Okay. So today's schedule from 10:15 until 10:45. There will be a kirtan by His Grace Badahari Prabhu. So that'll be very exciting. Followed immediately after at 10:45 until 12:30 by a discussion led by His Grace Ravindra Swarup Prabhu titled Understanding Bhakti as a Process of Knowledge. And then we'll get back together again from 2 till 3:30 for another session led by Badahari Prabhu. And finally, closing out today with a session led by Romapada Swami from 4:30 until 6 p.m. So again, please make sure to be back promptly by 10:15 on Zoom. Badahari Prabhu and Ravindra Swarup Prabhu will be joining us online only. So please make sure to log on to Zoom on time to take full advantage of the session. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.